Welcome to Career Journeys, a series of videos by the Consortium for Public Education. Here we explore the career experiences and pathways of professionals from a wide variety of careers to help you think about the skills you'll need and the paths you might take after high school. Hi, I'm Sarah Brooks, Program Director with the Consortium for Public Education. Today I'm interviewing Dave Judson, Major in the United States Army, as part of our Career Journeys video series to share insights into a professional's pivotal experience and career pathways. Thank you for joining us this evening, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
You're welcome. Tell me a little bit about the U.S. Army and your role there as a major.
Okay, so small, easy question to start with. It's so U.S. Army is a pretty big organization. I think it's actually one of the biggest employers in the U.S. It's over 1 million, right, between the active duty, the Guard, National Guard, and the Reserve, which could be a whole long conversation about the differences between all three of those. But basic terms, as a major, what I do is I manage and lead. The job changes every year or every 2 years, depending on what you're doing. But as a generalist, as a major, I manage a staff of individuals, soldiers, and typically a job is surrounding planning operations for a large element, somewhere around a couple thousand people.
You came into the Army, you graduated with a 4-year degree, and you immediately at graduation commissioned into the Army, which meant that you were officially a soldier and you were an officer, right, as a second lieutenant. So from there, what was the plan?
From there, the plan was that I owed the Army 4 years after they had paid for my undergrad. So I thought I was going to go in, I was going to do 4 years, and then I was going to get out and go do something else. I went to school for my undergrad in psychology and sociology, and I thought for sure I was going to go back to school, go get another advanced degree, and go do clinical psychology, because I loved kind of the brain and how people worked and crowds and groupthink and that kind of whole realm. And now I'm 12 years later, still in the Army. So that plan worked out really well. But it's all kind of been because of opportunities that have come up or that I've kind of sought out while I've been in the military that's kept me in. So it's kept me, one, entertained. I felt like that I have continued to learn every day. Felt like I'm still making a difference every day. And I'm being challenged every day. So that's what really has drawn me into it, is that there's always something new to learn, something new to do. And it's never the same day twice. So it's always been interesting.
What do you mean by opportunities, and how do those opportunities kind of present themselves, and why might those opportunities present themselves to you versus maybe another person who has had a similar path?
Sometimes it's luck of the draw, timing wise. Timing can do a lot when you're in a large organization with over 1 million people. Timing, just being in the right place, the right time, can really have an impact on what's going on. So I walked right into a platoon as my first job because I was the first one to sign into the unit by like 3 days ahead of another lieutenant that I had graduated with. He just went home and saw his family for an extra 3 days. And I happened to take a platoon ahead of him. And he sat on staff doing good work, but he didn't lead soldiers for another probably 6 months behind me. So it just kind of depends on where the holes are and where things need to be filled, essentially. So it's a little bit of timing. It's a lot of showing up, right place, right time. 80% of life is showing up in the right place, the right time, being ready to work. And so I think that was a lot of it. So there's a standard path of, as an officer, you can be a platoon leader, and then you go to staff, you can be a company commander, and then go back to staff, and then maybe be a battalion commander. And typically within the military, I'm a combat engineer by trade, by my education in the military. If I'd have joined the military and anybody, a recruiter or an instructor, anybody would have told me outside of being a platoon leader in combat, you're going to have to be a financial advisor. You're going to have to be a marriage counselor. You're going to have to be a religious advisor. You're going to have to be an accountant. You're going to have to teach a soldier how to balance a checkbook. I never would have thought that I would be doing all those things, because all of a sudden you have soldiers that are 17 or 18 all the way up to 32. And depending on where they come from, what their background is, what they went through in earlier life. They come from all walks of life. And so everybody has a different kind of base level.
So what are those skills that make you good at this job?
There's, I think, a combination of things, really. I'm never the smartest person in the room, but I do have 2 ears in one mouth. So listen twice as much as I probably talk. Um, and I think I don't know if that's a skill really, but it's listening and taking things in and kind of trying to approach everything as almost a kid would, where I don't know, so teach me, or I'm going to ask a lot of questions and try and figure things out. And I'm not going to pass judgment on something or assume that I know it just because maybe I've been through it once before, because things are always different and there's always something you can learn from everybody. I'm also extremely hard headed. So because I might not be the smartest one in the group, right, or the room, I like to think that I will outwork everybody else because I know that I have to work harder. Grades, I never felt like came easy to me, especially in high school. Um, I had to work hard to struggle through just basic classes until I found something that I liked, which is why I kind of went into psychology, because I found out that I liked those classes, but I still had to work hard at them. And it wasn't something I could just kind of get through or float through on the books wise. So I will just outwork everybody, or that's been my mentality, is just to outwork everybody.
Mhm.
And then outside of that, a lot of the military is about leadership. And I had an instructor or a senior officer at one point when I first came in tell me that leadership's about people. And I've come to realize that that is the ultimate truth. It is really about people. And if you don't have a sense of what's going on with the individuals that are you working with, you could be running in a completely different direction, and they will stand there laughing at you as you go off over a cliff, right? And so that's just something that you've got to be aware of. And if you're responsible for people, for soldiers in this case, you need to know what's going on in their lives and you need to care about them. And you can't fake that. It is something that needs to be done. And you need to care about the person that's on your right and your left, because they're there to help you and support you.
What questions should people ask themselves if they're considering a career in the Army?
I think what do you want is a big thing. Like, what do you want to do? Because for me, it's been an amazing challenge, and it's been a lot of fun, and I've made a lot of really good relationships through that. Not that you can't do that anywhere else, but it's a different lifestyle too, because I'm gone a lot. I've moved a lot. This is the longest I've ever been in one place, and I've only been here for 4 years, which is a really long time, because usually I was moving every 18 months to 2 years or so. I was moving or deploying someplace. So a question would be is, are you okay with constantly moving? And there's been periods of 6 months where I knew that I was going to deploy after I just got to a location, and I didn't even bother getting my like household goods or stuff for an apartment. I just lived out of bags in a room because I didn't feel like going through it. Or you do look forward to kind of always having a change of scenery, because you will always be in a different place. Now you can stay sometimes in a place for longer, and that does happen to some people, but sometimes you can be moving a lot. So are you okay with that? And is your family okay with that? If you're coming in with a serious girlfriend or a boyfriend, are they okay with that, with potentially always moving and being gone? It's a drain on family. It's hard on family, especially if you're deployed, because there's periods, yes, where you could be in contact all the time. And there's also periods where there will be no contact. A lot of my deployments, I haven't been able to call a lot because we've been so busy. And so sometimes it was, I can go take a shower, I can call home, or I can go sleep because I haven't slept in 36 hours. Are you open to that lifestyle? Which is always different. And it's not something that a lot of other people can relate to. So it does kind of put you in a different realm. The other thing is, do you want like a constant challenge sometimes? I'd say that would be the biggest thing,
Yeah.
because it really is what you make it. But there's a lot of opportunities to challenge yourself if you want to take on the responsibility, which I think fundamentally in myself, that is something that I always seek out. Is you seek out more responsibility because I think it makes you a better person. And I think it leads to a better life if you are taking on more responsibility. Sometimes more than you probably should, but it's the only way you're going to get better.
what is one piece of advice that you would give anyone aspiring to be in your field and or your position?
It is entirely what you make it. There can be a lot of time when you can do that self-reflection because there's times when there's nothing going on. And if you don't know what you're getting into, you're right.
Well, Dave, this has been great. Thank you so much.
For more information or to learn about other careers in the Career Journey series, visit our website and check back soon for our next installment. Thanks!